As Alice mentioned, my presentation is called Learning Pathways Through the Tarot. I did an astrology version of this presentation a year ago. This is obviously the tarot version. And I'll explain to you what I mean by learning pathways in just a moment. So the agenda for today is I will talk about learning pathways. Then I'm going to look at some of the more challenging tarot cards that we get a bit nervous about when they come up in spreads. And then I've got a learning pathways tarot spread that I'm going to take you through that you'll then do for yourself after the break. So this is what I mean by learning pathways. As Alice mentioned, I'm what's called an instructional designer. So an instructional designer designs learning experiences, or more simply put, we write training programs, as in face-to-face workshops, e-learning modules, any kind of learning experience. And that includes learning pathways. So an example of a learning pathway is when you are being inducted into a workplace, there's certain training you need to do to become inducted into that workplace, or there's a degree that you're completing, you need to complete certain units to achieve that qualification. That's a learning pathway that you go on. And I'm using learning pathways as an analogy for the ups and downs of our life path. So you can see here, definitely ups and downs as we go along, and there are certain events that are played out along our learning pathway. So that's that's the terminology that I'm using, but it's literally your life path, but I'm using it as an opportunity, as a place of learning, with that instructional designer background. The events on the learning pathway, so this is a term it's called the Black Swan or Black Swan events. It's a term that is used more so in financial services. I'm applying it more so across to personal lives. So it's an event that is a surprise to you. You don't see it coming, and the event has a major effect. So it changes the way you see the world moving forward, okay? And in retrospect, you tend to say, I should have known that was going to happen. But you don't know it beforehand. But in retrospect, you feel that you probably should have known. That's what I'm talking about. So a Black Swan event to me is a learning event, and a learning event on your learning pathway. But the perspective that I want to talk about is the Obstacle is the Way. These are books, by the way, in case you haven't caught on there. So Obstacle is the Way is an instruction manual on how to solve life's toughest problems based on the teachings of the Stoics of ancient Greece. The point is to choose to view your obstacles in an empowering way, and you can turn them into your greatest assets. I just realised I've missed a word in the slide deck. I'll fix that in the future. But the whole point is, yes, we may be faced with Black Swan events or learning events along our learning pathway, our life path, but we can choose to view them in an empowering way and actually look for the gifts and lessons in those experiences, and look for the whole, what is the point of going through it? Because I believe that these events occur because they are essentially training us for our purpose in this lifetime. It's important that we work out what the gifts and lessons are, so we don't keep repeating the same experiences over and over. Obstacles do not block the path, they are the path. They are actually giving us a very clear indication of where we're supposed to go. Even if it doesn't feel that way in that moment, we are being guided. We've just got to come out the other side. We've got to get those gifts and lessons as we go through the experience. So I'm just going to provide some examples of some learning events. We're all familiar with the Alec Baldwin Rust movie set shooting. Unexpected, didn't see it coming, but in retrospect, he may be known as someone that maybe is a bit on the reckless or thoughtless side. Didn't check the gun, obviously. That's an example of a learning event. So up here, do you guys recognise the Foo Fighters at all?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay, good. Yeah, okay, good. Because when I actually showed this at the Astrology Association a year ago, I was like, no. So I'm really pleased to know the Foo Fighters. So Dave Grohl here, lost a band mate, Taylor Hawkins here, I think it was early last year. Unexpected, didn't see it coming. A Black Swan event on a personal level, a learning event, an opportunity to learn and grow, as difficult as it might be.
Yes.
And obviously he also lost a previous bandmate, however many years ago, with Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
And do we all remember the Oscars slap?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. So, unexpected, and probably unexpected on Will Smith's behalf as well. He probably didn't realise he was about to get up and slap someone who was his friend previously. These are examples of learning events, and I would love you guys to have a think about a learning event in your life. I'm not here to traumatise people, that's not what this is about, but we're gonna do a spread later where we're gonna look at a learning event in your life. So just have a think about it. You don't need to go too heavy by any means. I'm going to share a learning event in my life as I provide an example of the spread, which is actually a legal matter that I was dragged through by an unethical client that went on for 9 months.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that's a learning event in my life, and it absolutely was a place of learning. You know, I say that, you know, without a doubt, it's one of the worst experiences of my life, but quite ironic that it's also one of the best because of how it changed me. And that's kind of the point of these learning events. They're difficult, but they can change in a really good way when you come out the other side of them. Okay? So my question to you, what is the learning pathway of your life? So think about the learning events on your learning pathway. What's that?
I said, how many?
How many? How many? Well, that's exactly it. There's lots of learning events along our learning pathway.
Yeah.
But just have a think about what's the learning pathway of your life, and think about a learning event on your learning pathway that we're going to explore a bit later. Okay, what tarot cards would you expect to see at the time of a learning event? This is my question to you guys. So when someone's going through an experience like, you know, the Oscars slap, or a band member dying, or you know, someone being accidentally shot and killed on a movie set. Say Alec Baldwin's come in for a reading with you. What kind of tarot cards would you expect to see at the time of a learning event?
Nice one.
There's some clues right there.
Definitely the tower.
Definitely the tower.
Yeah.
And major arcanas as well, because it's
Yeah.
that pivotal spiritual
Yes.
realignment.
Yes, absolutely.
You
Did
can also have the hermit,
Yeah, okay. And why do you say that out of interest?
because when you have an event like that, one can go within
Yes.
to sort out firstly the impact it has, and secondly to just self-analyse and analyse everything around you that came to that point. So I feel the hermit is a very good indicator that there's some learning to do.
Yes, and it's actually a very good point, because in the example I show you of my tarot spread around this legal matter, the hermit does come up for me in that, funnily enough. Lots of looking within with that event.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to start with a minor arcana card, and the reason being, so I actually refer to the Five of Cups as the learning pathways card, because I think it actually demonstrates the whole point of learning pathways really well. As you can see, I'm using Rider-Waite here, but this is the Light Seers tarot deck as well. I love the illustration, so I'm including both in the presentation.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Now, the point of the Five of Cups, which is why I'm starting with it, is that yes, things have gone horribly wrong. We've got our 3 cups that have fallen over, but there are also things that have gone very right as well. We just need to be willing to see them. Okay? So that's my learning pathways card.
There's also the bridge going across that there's a future.
Yes. Yeah. We just need to be willing to take those steps and move forward.
Look to the horizon
Yeah.
rather than down.
Yeah. And I think it's okay that we can feel a bit sorry for ourselves for a bit, but let's turn around and see those other cups and see that bridge, and let's pick up those cups and move forward. We know that, you know, the Five of Cups is about regret and, you know, it's disappointment and grief. What else do you sort of see in the Five of Cups? How would you?
I always see that as a don't linger.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
Let the energy move through you,
Yeah.
but don't linger there.
Yeah, good point.
Don't get stuck there.
Yeah, have your moment, but move forward. Yeah.
You know, take the cloak off at some stage
Yes.
and move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And can I say with the numerology as well, the 5 is
Yes.
change.
Yes.
It's communication, so
Yeah.
they know already they're up for some sort of
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Now some major arcana cards of death. Death is about transformation. Transformations can be very challenging, obviously, but they can be really good as well. You know, if we're willing to get those gifts and lessons from that experience. You know, renewal, transition. It's about bringing things to an end, but when things come to an end, there's the opportunity for something new to come through. The Devil. It's a very handsome looking devil, I have to say, in the Light Seers pack.
That's why it's slightly addictive.
Yes, that's right. What would you get out of the, you know, the devil, as you know, seeing the devil come up in a tarot spread around a learning event where you're there to learn with what's coming through? What sort of learnings would you get seeing the devil come up in a spread?
Just learn to let go.
Okay.
So when you're trapped in a situation that you created for yourself, that you're your own devil in a way,
Yes.
and you sort of be bound yourself with your own choices, and you the things around their neck are loose, they can take them off and
Yeah,
run
it's
away
true.
any time they want to, but they choose to stay in a situation
Yeah.
that becomes
Yeah.
toxic for them.
Yeah, that's right.
It is a choice card because it's the polar opposite to the lover's card.
Yes.
So you could say it's substantial, but it's also, it is an element of choice there.
It is, and yet be
Yeah.
willing to remove those shackles and move forward. Find the gifts and lessons and move forward. Yeah.
Yeah, they could be self-imposed shackles as
Yes.
well, because it could be from habit.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
A lot of things that aren't good for us
Our habit.
are habit.
And
Yes.
comforting.
Yeah. Very comforting.
Comfort zones.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But if the devil's coming up, maybe we need to have a good look at that. Have a good look at ourselves, our habits, and
Yeah, well, that's when the outside circumstance comes along and goes, oh.
yeah, yes, that's right. That's when we have a learning event on our learning pathway. So we all picked the tower before. So what kind of gifts or lessons would you expect to come out? Like that you would, you know, the Alec Baldwin's come in, the tower's shown up in his spread. What would you say to Alec Baldwin? You're in a lot of trouble, buddy. What was that? Sorry.
Irreversible change.
Irreversible change.
It's also a humbling card.
Yeah.
You know, particularly in the examples you've used, they're surrounded by Hollywood. They're made to feel great, but those big life upsets touch everyone.
Yes.
So they're brought back down to earth. Really.
Yeah. We see the human side
Yeah,
in
that's
those
right.
people. You know.
That's right. The crown falls off.
The crown falls off.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Certainly collateral damage.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it emanates out from self and then it touches a lot of people around.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Complete upheaval, chaos, sudden
Shock.
change, destruction, shock.
Come out from nowhere.
But
Yeah.
it has to happen.
It has to
It
happen.
has to happen. It has to happen to put them back on their life path.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And we don't like it.
Yeah.
It's not a change we're
Yeah.
willing to. We wouldn't voluntarily
No.
enter into this kind of change. But when
Yeah.
it happens, we've got to take it and run with it.
Yeah. And it's almost like when you ignore the devil, which is your own doing,
Yes.
God comes and
Yes.
just puts you back into place.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, very good. Excellent. All right.
And that's the other card I was going to say.
Oh,
Moon
okay,
card.
there you
That's what
go.
I was gonna- I would have put the moon card in there as well, but you did.
Yeah, good. Yeah. It's interesting. I did like a few cards first, then I'm like, oh no, this is appropriate. This is appropriate. So I end up adding a
Yeah.
few more in. But the moon is, confusion. In my experience, the moon is confusion. You're
Yeah.
doubting yourself. It's about insecurity. I think that's very appropriate when you're going through a learning event on your learning pathway. You are feeling really insecure. Yeah. How would you guys sort of perceive that?
In astrology, the moon rules your habits too.
Yes, it does.
And so, like, these could be habits that have taken over in a way, and we sort of rule by our habits and doing the things we want to do.
That's right. We've set up this learning event because of our habits have led us there.
Mm.
We need to change our
Change
habits.
our habits, yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes, the cards can be challenging, but sometimes we need those challenges to create those changes in our lives. And we can make a lot more progress in our lives as a result of the occasional wake-up call that these learning events, I think, offer
it's
us.
also self-deception.
Yeah, okay. Anyone else want to make a comment around the moon? We good?
Very emotional.
Very emotional.
Very emotional.
Yeah.
And then, the confusion, you're kind of lost in your own emotions. You don't have the clarity, the hindsight. There's no sun, the
There's
sun.
no sun.
eclipse,
It's so dark.
Yeah, it's not lit.
No, it's not lit in any way. You had a comment?
The moon to me is what you were saying before about like going into the depths of yourself.
Yeah.
And so I guess we need like those big life-changing events to realize like what was hidden from us.
Yes.
The negative emotions that need to come up.
Yes.
Like, why is that emotion there? Like that's a learning tool.
Absolutely, it's a learning tool, absolutely. And we do need these events from time to time to have those wake-up calls to create change in our lives. And I think the change that we create in our lives can really benefit us, but we'd never make the change unless we had a learning event, for example.
And don't you think, Penny, quite often the moon rules the subconscious? So
Yes.
going back to Alec Baldwin, he would
Yes.
have known subconsciously as he's got older, he's got slacker on set
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he's got, Sarah said, more important. So subconsciously,
We
quite
know.
often people, it's hovering under there and it takes the event to bring it to your consciousness.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Intuitively we know, but not ready to know.
We're being forced to deal with certain behaviours that we otherwise don't want to, or have gotten away with not needing to, until you can't deny it anymore. Yeah. Okay. Judgment. Awakening.
Cards. What's
Okay.
that deck called? What's the other?
Oh, this is the Light Seers deck.
Oh,
Beautiful
so
illustrations. I know, that's why
Yeah.
I put them up as well. They're so beautiful. Yeah, it's a judgment. We're looking about, this is an opportunity for us to awaken to a new way of experiencing our lives and seeing the world. It's an opportunity for rebirth and renewal. And it's about being liberated. It's not always, these learning events, they might be tough to go through, but I think there's a lot of benefit for us when we do rise to the challenge. Did you have a comment?
So about accepting yourself as you are, so accepting your dark sides,
Yes.
and they're a part of growth, and all,
Yeah.
accepting all the bad things you've done in life. Okay, I've done that.
I stuffed up there.
You have to accept those dark sides of yourself.
You do have to accept yourself, absolutely.
Yeah. So you forgive others, and you forgive others that have hurt you, but then you forgive yourself for holding the hurt inside you as well, because you realise you've hurt yourself as well by holding under that hurt as well.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, these learning events are an opportunity for growth if we rise to the occasion. Some people don't want to rise to the occasion, and therefore the cycle repeats in theory. Now, some minor arcana cards, some nine of wands. We can be a bit beaten up, but there's lessons here in the Nine of Wands card, and this card did come up for me in my spread that I'm going to show you in a sec. It helps us become more resilient. Ten of Wands. It can be a struggle and hard work, but there's light at the end of the tunnel as well, I think.
I always find the 9 and the 10 of Wands quite empowering. It sort of reminds me of the Zen quote, chop wood, carry water.
Yes.
Like you just have to do it.
You just have to do it.
And just pull up your socks and do it, because that's the journey. That's the hard part of the journey.
It is, and you know what? Like 9 and 10,
Yep.
it's hard part of the journey, and then it's
Yep.
over.
That's right.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And just looking at the Nine of Swords and the Ten of Swords next, lots of mental anguish going on here, lots of mental conflict, lots of worry, anxiety. But you know what? Sometimes we need to get these things out of our system so we actually can get mental clarity, being the swords. And of course the Ten of Swords.
Oh, that's so nice.
It's so pretty. I know, for such a difficult card, it's actually very pretty. Hitting rock bottom can actually be a really good thing, because there's only one way to go from there. Okay, so, change your thoughts and you can change your world. So just looking at things from a different perspective and just looking at these learning events along your learning pathway and going, this is an opportunity for me to grow. And the tarot can help us find the gifts and lessons in those experiences, so we don't need to keep repeating them, but instead grow in our lives. Okay, this is the tarot spread that you guys are going to be doing. I'm going to take you through what each of these are. I've got a handout for you in a moment. But it's the spread that you're going to do after the break. 7 cards. I chose 7 because 7 is the number of spirituality. Am I right when I say that? And this is, a spiritual spread. The question I want you guys to ask is, what is the purpose of this learning event? Or what is the purpose of this learning event on my learning pathway? Yeah. What is the purpose of this learning event? First card is just a card about the learning event. Use a card that just describes a learning event. Choose randomly. Okay.
Do we have it in mind though, and then we
No.
choose it?
Just shuffle the
You
deck.
Okay.
The right card will come out, and you'll see when I show in my example, the right card came out for
that's
me.
cool.
Yeah. So you'll find the right card that describes your learning event.
Yeah.
So you don't need to go looking through the deck and go, what's the most traumatizing card I can find here and pull it out.
Yeah.
So just have an idea in mind around what learning event you want to explore,
Oh yeah.
and then you'll pull a card out around that. And then the card 2 is how the event changed you, how that learning event changed you, because of course it changes you in some way. Card 3 is the gift from the event. That can be a spiritual gift. Okay, what gift do you, because there are gifts that come from these events. It may not feel like it in the moment, but there are gifts that come through if we're willing to see it. And card 4 being how you can use the gift to benefit yourself and others. There's something in it, okay? Card 5, the lesson from the learning event. What is the lesson you're supposed to get from it? Card 6, how you can use the lesson to benefit yourself and others, okay? So it's about, in a way, paying forward. You know, how, you know, this has happened in your life. What can you do to then help yourself moving forward, but then help other people as well? Because it has changed you. And card 7, the role the learning event plays on your learning pathway. So you're going through your learning pathway, your life path, you've had this event. What's the role that this learning event has played on your learning pathway? This is my spread. So I mentioned earlier I went through a 9-month legal matter at the hands of a very unethical client. So the learning event for me was described by the 4 of Pentacles. The event was about protecting my resources, protecting my intellectual property, because she kept trying to take it from me and not providing a fair, so I'm trying to say this diplomatically as possible.
She ripped you off.
She ripped me off. She looked for opportunities to take advantage of me, and I had to protect my resources, I had to protect my intellectual property, and this legal matter played out for 9 months because she kept looking for opportunities to take advantage of me, and I stood my ground, which you'll see. And then card 2, how the event changed you, the Hermit, you know. So I absolutely looked within, and which I think you need to do with any of these kind of events, you do need to look within. But what was quite interesting is that, you know, I am an astrologer for 21 years and I had this woman's birth detail. I saw her birth chart before this all started up. And I saw some really concerning placements in her birth chart. And I disregarded my own astrological instincts because I liked her so much as a person. So I saw, you know, areas of concern on an astrological level and I disregarded my own astrological instincts. And therefore, how did the event change me? I looked within and I no longer doubt my astrological instincts because I was so on the money with this woman, and I would never disregard my astrological instincts again because of the mess I got into when I did that.
Yeah, when you brought up the devil card, one thing that with the devil card, it's sometimes for me, it's you ignore your instincts because you want the prize.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
It's a
yeah,
compliment.
that's, you know, you sort of put your head in the sand thinking, oh, it'll be okay, you know, everything will be fine. I'll be able to manage it
Yes.
because that's the outcome I want. But, yeah, you kind of ignore, you chain yourself.
Yeah,
to-
absolutely.
to that situation.
Well, I'm glad the devil didn't show up on my spread, but I was very chuffed though, like when the 5 of Cups and the 9 of Wands turned up, because they were cards obviously I chose to talk about. No, this was all about her trying to take advantage of me. And it was my first client for my new business,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow.
so it was pretty brutal. Anyway, but big astrological lesson for me. And now and doing this tarot spread has helped me understand what it was all about. Because I've gone through the legal matter and just gone, what was the whole point of that exercise, you know? So this spread has helped me to process what it was all about. Okay, card 3 being the gift from the learning event. So 5 of Cups, we're in the right of way. We've got the 3 cups that have fallen over and then the 2 cups that are still standing up behind. And this is the thing. This woman and I, prior to this legal matter flaring up, she and I were looking at doing a business together. What an absolute blessing, it all fell apart. And that's the 2 cups still standing up because, you know, yes, things didn't go the way according to plan, but I was saved at the same time because of those 2 cups standing up that, you know, it wasn't ideal, but I see that card as, you know, I was saved from getting in deeper with this woman. And then, you know, how can you use the gift to benefit yourself and others? Ace of Swords. I'm very clear now around what needs to happen. I can articulate how to protect my resources, and I always get my legalities done. You know.
Documentation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't get it done because I thought this woman was my friend and I was doing her a favour.
Yeah.
So not my friend, you know, and I was doing her a favour and she tried to take advantage of it. Anyway, now the 5th card being the lesson from the learning event, and I find this to be quite funny, like when the tarot makes a joke at your expense. Justice. It's like, get your legalities done. Like, it's so literal. Anyway, and then how can you use the lesson to benefit yourself and others is the Page of Cups. So I use the legalities to protect my creative projects and teaching other people how to protect their creativity as well. And then the role the learning event plays on the learning pathway is the Knight of Wands. So I learnt to stand my ground and protect my boundaries, and I became so much more resilient as a result of going through this experience. Would never have chosen it. Still a bit traumatised by it all, but my goodness, I can protect myself now in a way that I didn't before. And
You see it coming. You're ready.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to be burnt to get the lessons that you need,
Yeah, fortunately. Yeah.
unfortunately.
And you fortified yourself,
I have. I'm totally protected now.
both
Yeah.
mentally and physically, because
Yeah.
it would have drained you, the partnership and the being let down.
Yes.
So it wasn't just on a business level, it was an emotional level
Yes.
of the unfairness of it.
Yeah.
Betrayal, really.
Massive betrayal of trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had actually completed most of the work on the project, and she then decided to not honour the agreement that I had her on, and I was to sign her agreement. So it went on she was trying to get me to sign 3 different agreements, and after 9 months, we only had 1 agreement signed because she kept trying to harm me, and I kept standing my ground. So I learnt about protecting my boundaries, and she eventually gave up and walked away.
Did she actually know what she was doing?
Oh God, yeah.
She did.
Yeah, she knew what she was
Yeah.
doing.
Okay.
It was about harming me because I questioned her about something and I bruised her ego. Anyway, that is the spread. You're all going to get these that you'll do after the break. I've got some upcoming workshops if anyone is interested. The information is on the back. First workshop is called Healing the Parental Wound Through Astrology. It's on Saturday the 18th of November. And one in the new year about learning your life purpose through astrology, which loans itself to the presentation I've done tonight. That's on Saturday the 13th of January at both of the Drummoyne Wellness Clinic. And just finishing on a quote, did you want to say something?
So Penny, I'm just wondering how you explain to clients that are going through a kind of ongoing I wouldn't call trauma, but
Yes.
confusion, all of the cards that are represented by those emotions.
Yes.
And to feel as though there is an enlightening outcome at the end. It's very hard to get that across.
It is, and people have got to be willing to, they've got to be open to, getting those gifts and lessons from the experience as well. Not everyone wants to hear it, but that's certainly how I work with people, with tarot and astrology, is that, like, what are the gifts and lessons? What is it that you need to get out of this, and how are you supposed to grow? Because it's playing a role in your, on your life journey. It's part of it's training you for your purpose in this lifetime. The tarot can give insights around what you're meant to get out of that experience. Just a quote: life is simple, everything happens for you, not to you. Everything happens at exactly the right moment, neither too soon nor too late. You don't have to like it, it's just easy if you do. So we get these learning events, we may as well work with them and get what we need out of them to get
I
the growth
heard
that we
this
need.
a relationship therapist talking on the radio, and I thought it was a really good summary. He said, or she said, if you're going through hell,
Keep going.
walking.
Yeah, keep walking.